Are you ready to escape to places where being LGBTQ plus isn't just tolerated, it's celebrated? Well, today I've got 7 more incredible destinations that just might shock you, change your world, and certainly give you a different perspective to know that there is a choice that you can make as to how you want to live your life. Hey, I'm Ken Krell, and back in 2009 I left the United States to live the digital nomad life, and I haven't looked back. It's my joy to share with you how you can do the exact same thing, and I do it every Tuesday in the Pride Nomad letter, which you can get for free when you click that link in the description below. So today's list may shock you, surprise you, and certainly, hopefully, inspire you. We're going to start with the Netherlands, then we're going to go to Germany, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and I have a surprise one for you at the end, so stick around. It just may change your world. Let me get my glasses on here so I can read the screen a lot better. If you're going to see some reflection, get over it. Okay, a quick reality check. Laws and situations change very fast, especially right now. So if you have updated information that may differ from what I'm reporting here, please pop it into the comments, because together as a community, as Jane Fonda said recently, as a community, we have power. So we are much stronger when you share your knowledge with us. All right, let's dive into country number 1, the Netherlands. So let's explore one of the most inclusive and progressive countries on the planet. These guys legalized same-sex marriage in 2001. The first country on the planet to do so, it's the Netherlands. And they've kept pushing for equal rights ever since, including some of the most comprehensive protections for trans and non-binary folks. So let's dive into what you need to know right now in 2025. Let's just dive into Amsterdam, the icon, the pearl, the obvious one. LGBTQ culture is woven into the city's DNA. It is perfect for remote work with co-working spaces and cafes all over. You'll never find a lack of places where you can actually get your work done and have a good time at the same time. But the challenge is rent is steep. You're looking at 1,700 to 2,500 euro for a 1-bedroom apartment on a monthly basis. So be mindful of that. But a pro tip for you for Amsterdam. Amsterdam Noord has better deals, but prices there jumped 15% last year. That's indicative everywhere. I found that even in Portugal, which used to be super cheap, prices doubled over the past few years. So be mindful of that and understand that what you're hearing about right now could and will change consistently. Now let's go to Rotterdam, the creative hub of the Netherlands. Modern, creative, more affordable certainly than Amsterdam. It's got a thriving startup and international community, and the LGBTQ scene there is next level. Must-visit spots include Cafe Strano and Ferry. Rent, more like about 1,300 to 2,000 euro per month, so yes, definitely more affordable than going to Amsterdam. Utrecht and The Hague are hidden gems that you must explore. Utrecht has gorgeous canals without the tourist chaos. That will be refreshing for you. And The Hague, beach life and international vibes for real. Both have flourishing LGBTQ plus communities and will not demolish your savings like Amsterdam will. The recent tech boom there, by the way, means more remote work spots for you as well. Now for the LGBTQ scene over there, my gosh, Amsterdam Pride, imagine canal parades. That'll blow your mind. Yes, that's Amsterdam Pride. The Milkshake Festival is Europe's most inclusive music event. Historic spots like Café de Manger, running since 1927. Pan parties in Utrecht are legendary, and I would say compulsory for you now if you go. And the whole country celebrates Pride season, so you will feel comfortable, you will feel at home. Welcome to the Netherlands. Okay, Pride Nomads, now let's jump to Germany. A great central location in Europe, certainly to get around everywhere, but there is a crucial 2025 reality check. You may remember the incredible story that we featured in the Pride Nomad letter early in 2024 about the teenager who traveled the trains in Germany. This kid was coding on the train with a first-class ticket, and he lived on the train for a year in Germany. Great way to do it. And the trains run on time. They're wonderful. That piece showed just how easy it is to really be a digital nomad and run a business from a train in Germany. Today, Germany is still one of Europe's LGBTQ plus powerhouses. Same-sex marriage was legalized in 2017, and the groundbreaking Self-Determination Act, letting trans and non-binary folks legally change gender without medical proof, has been a game changer. But here's what you need to know right now. After the recent state elections, we're seeing some concerning shifts. The far-right AfD party gained significant ground in several regions, and while the major cities remain progressive havens, the political landscape is definitely in flux. This is not the only country in that situation, my friends, so be mindful of that. Your best city options? Of course, Berlin, the wild child. It is one of the world's biggest and most notorious LGBTQ plus scenes. Digital nomad heaven and haven with co-working spaces everywhere. Rents about 1,800 to 2,600 euro per month. It's a steal compared to London, but still not comparable at all to places like Bangkok or Vietnam. The startup scene over there is explosive, and a new queer tech hub in Kreuzberg that we want to explore for sure. Go to Cologne. It is the heart of queer Germany. Famous pride celebrations there, more relaxed than Berlin, less expensive than Berlin with 1,600 to 2,200 euro per month. And again, these numbers will shift and vary. Cologne has a perfect mix of history and progress and a growing international community. Also Munich for luxury living. Gardner Flaxvertiel, I'm saying it wrong, I know, forgive me my friends in Germany. It is queer central, an incredible quality of life over there, but it's pricey, 2,000 to 2,200 euro per month to live in Munich. And again, those prices, that's where they're headed. Tech jobs are everywhere, but it does have the best infrastructure in Germany. And Germany's known, of course, for its engineering, so you will be happy in Germany. The visa situation in Germany, while there's no dedicated digital nomad visa yet, the freelancer visa is your friend. Stay up to 3 years if you're working remotely. Just be ready for some paperwork, and I believe it's going to take you a while to get. I believe you're looking at about 6 to 10 weeks, so be mindful of your time. Some reality check on Germany. It truly is one of the most affordable major countries in Western Europe. Strong LGBTQ protections for now. Again, be mindful of that. And the infrastructure is second to none, but keep in mind of those political shifts. Major cities will remain havens regardless of national politics, I believe. So the bottom line here, if you want European living without Swiss prices, incredible culture, and a strong LGBTQ plus community, Germany is still a solid bet for you. Just be informed about what could be happening in the future and stay aware. Okay, Pride Nomads, let's jet over to one of my favorite countries on the planet, Canada. Not the 51st state, no. It is certainly a safe haven for Americans and for so many others. Canada has had same-sex marriage since 2005, and they've got some of the world's strongest protections for trans and non-binary folks. But it's more than laws. It's woven into their culture. And speaking of culture, the Whistler Winter Pride Festival is one of my favorite weeks of the year. Great skiing, fabulous people. It's got a history well exceeding 20 plus years. I've been there that long, and I cover it every year in the Pride Nomad letter. In fact, in the first Pride Nomad letter, early 2024, we did an extensive review of the festival. Worth going to, certainly, even if you don't ski. You'll find the reviews of the Whistler Winter Pride Festival in every year's Pride Nomad letter. You will see that, of course, linked below in the description. Okay. Now let's jump into why Canada is an incredible choice for you. Best city options, starting with Toronto, the powerhouse. The Church Wellesley Village is LGBTQ plus central, thriving startup and remote work scene over there, incredibly multicultural, but rents are not cheap. You're starting at about $3,000 per month to be in the Toronto area. Pro tips, look at Leslieville for better deals and get out into the burbs a little bit. Public transportation in Toronto is pretty good. You got a great airport as well. Toronto's a good bet for you. If you want to play with European vibes and better prices, go to Montreal. Some will tell you that the Village is the largest LGBTQ plus neighborhood in North America. I think the folks in Wilton Manors will disagree. Rents $1,800 to $2,500 per month. It is a bilingual city, and one thing I so much love about Montreal, the food. Oh my God. Pride celebrations over there are legendary, and there's some new tech hubs taking place over there, so you've got great opportunities in Montreal as well. Heading west to Vancouver, nature, pride, incredible, and of course, a couple hours north, you're headed to Whistler. Vancouver has so much to offer, and if you head over to Vancouver Island, another whole adventure for you. It is one of my favorite places truly on the planet. If you're going to be in the neighborhood, Davie Village is your queer hub. Any place you look in Vancouver is going to be prettier than next. Truly, it is a great place, but it is expensive. You're looking at $3,500 a month or more to have a place to live over there. Mildest winters, by the way, in Canada, but a lot of rain. So if you're looking for sunshine, you're going to see it, but not as often as you would see it, say, in Toronto or other parts of the country. The tech scene over there rivals Silicon Valley. Lots going on in Vancouver. It's a great place to be. I don't think you'll ever regret Vancouver at all. Quebec City, heading back east, is a hidden gem in Canada. Historic European charm, stunning architecture. Oh my goodness. More affordable, $1,500, $1,800 a month to rent, and growing LGBTQ plus scene. 20 plus years of Pride celebrations, and a new remote visa work hub has also opened there. Quebec City Winter Carnival is another must go. It's not an LGBTQ plus event, but I gotta tell you, it is unforgettable. Now let's jump into the visa situation. Canada has tightened up a lot on immigration, but US citizens still get 6 months visa free as of the moment. And if you want to do remote work while you're visiting, it's generally accepted. Other countries will not allow that. If you're looking for visas to get in, tech-focused visas are your best shot. A reality check for you, healthcare becomes free once you're a resident, if you're able to do that these days. Most cities have serious winter, except Vancouver, which is much more mild, but you will freeze every body part you have when you're in Canada. Believe me, I've been there for winters for years. The cost of living higher in most cities, as you'll find everywhere on the planet, but you get robust LGBTQ plus protections, safety, and quality of life. And by the way, you're still on the North American time zone, so it is convenient for you if you're playing in the American marketplace. Bottom line, if your budget can handle it and you don't mind winter, Canada offers you what many Pride Nomads find to be the perfect answer: genuine security and acceptance. Okay, Pride Nomads, if you're dreaming of a country where your office could be next to a glacier, a beach, or a hobbit hole, listen up. As we covered in issue, I think it's 156 of the Pride Nomad letter, you might want to double check that and correct me there. And by the way, here's a great pitch for the Pride Nomad letter. Comes out every single Tuesday, like clockwork. It's free, it's fabulous. Everything you want to know about being a Pride Nomad, a digital nomad. Tips, strategies, case studies, stories, you've got it in the Pride Nomad letter. It's a pretty quick read every Tuesday. The link to subscribe is right below in the description here. You will love it, I promise you. And by the way, I guarantee it. If you don't like it, you get your money back. Oh yes, it's free. You get to learn to live anywhere, play, work anywhere, and play everywhere. The Pride Nomad letter, grab it right now if you haven't already. Okay, let's jump into New Zealand. They revolutionized their approach to digital nomads. Just as we covered in the newsletter, the digital worker visa launched in early 2025 lets you stay up for 12 months if you're earning over 80,000 New Zealand dollars from overseas work. Overseas work, not domestic New Zealand work. They don't want to lose local jobs. This isn't a gray area anymore. This is legal for us. Yay! Your city options, of course, beginning in Auckland, the big smoke. Karanja Happy Road, K-Road, is LGBTQ plus central. There are co-working spaces everywhere. It's got a really nice vibe. Strong tech scene, not cheap though, $3,000 to $3,800 per month. But remember, we're going to talk about exchange rates here, so it may not be as bad as you think. There are beautiful beaches everywhere, just minutes away, and there's a new startup hub in Parnell. By the way, before I forget, the government banned conversion therapy in 2022, so a safe place for all of us. Wellington, the creative capital. Go to Cuba Street, which is the queer cultural hub over there. There's an epic coffee culture, if that's what you're into. It is much more affordable than Auckland. You're looking at anywhere from $2,200 to $2,800 a month, so definitely a better place economically for you. But understand this, they don't call it Windy Welly for nothing. There's a growing film industry there, by the way. Queenstown is the adventure paradise in New Zealand. A smaller LGBT community for sure, but totally accepting. Stunning alpine settings, perfect for outdoor enthusiasts. Higher cost of living due to tourism, $2,800 to $3,500 per month. But the views, unforgettable. There's a new international tech campus that's opening in mid-2025, so you'll find Queenstown to be tremendous. And of course, they have their Winter Pride as well. The visa situation as of 2025, just to be clear, the digital worker visa gives you 12 months over there, but again, you got to prove $80,000 per year of annual income. You can extend it another 12 months under certain conditions. And by the way, this is interesting, healthcare access is included, but you've got to work for non-New Zealand companies. So to reiterate, high housing costs, internet there is solid but not cheap. There's not an Aldi there, at least when I last checked. Oops. Healthcare is world class. LGBTQ rights are strong and getting stronger. Some of the world's cleanest air and water, and it's away from everything. And unfortunately, costs of living are rising higher than wages. So there are some challenges over there. So here's your bottom line. New Zealand is not a budget option, but if you want jaw-dropping nature, progressive politics, and a society that generally embraces diversity, this is your spot. Okay, Pride Nomads, let's talk about the land down under, because Australia might just be your perfect mix of adventure and acceptance. And I always choke up when I talk about Australia because I spent about 4 years there and have fallen in love with the country. Unfortunately, immigration for people that are over 45 is not so easy. I'm still working on it because I want to spend the rest of my life in this country. I'm very biased. You know, some places are technically LGBTQ plus friendly. Australia is not one of them. They are totally LGBTQ plus friendly. They're an incredible country. They're not fooling around. They legalized same-sex marriage in 2017. I was there the day they approved it. It was one giant party. Public support was overwhelming for this. And in 2025, they're still pushing boundaries. Just look at their new gender-affirming healthcare policies. Let me paint you a picture of your potential life in Australia. In Sydney, you might start your day working from a Bondi Beach cafe. The vibe in Bondi is fantastic. Then explore what really makes the city shine for the LGBT plus community. The whole area of Darlinghurst and Surrey Hills, and just in the CBD, it's gay, it's queer, it's everywhere, my friends. There's a new queer tech hub in Surrey Hills that's bringing in digital nomads from around the globe. And we're talking about world-class theater in Sydney. My favorite theater is by far the Hayes, which is nonstop phenomenal for musicals. The new theater, the Griffin, the Belvoir, fantastic local theater. As you can tell, I'm pretty biased about Sydney. If you're into sports, there are so many different LGBTQ plus sports leagues and clubs and places you can play. You will absolutely love it. You will feel at home instantly. The city completely comes alive during Mardi Gras season, when even the Opera House runs Mardi Gras events. And you will find rainbow flags everywhere in this city. During World Pride a few years back, they even shut down the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and we walked across the bridge with the mayor of Sydney. During Mardi Gras, which is the most incredible celebration, the biggest pride celebration in the Southern Hemisphere, where literally hundreds of thousands of people line the streets. I typically would be volunteering during Mardi Gras, directing traffic through the middle of the streets. I've shown up on television quite a few times over there. A few years ago, the Prime Minister, for the first time, walked the Mardi Gras path, which was fantastic, and I got to shake his hand. It was really pretty cool. So thank you, Mr. Albanese. But there's a reality check to Sydney, and that is it's pretty damn expensive to live there. You're looking at $3,500 to $4,000 or so per month, dollars. I'm talking USD in this case, to live a great life. Now that, for me, meant a rooftop pool overlooking Hyde Park, overlooking the Opera House, overlooking Sydney Harbour. So yes, you're paying for it, but oh my God, it's an incredible lifestyle. You can live for less if you're looking, if you're headed to the inner west and other areas of Sydney, so it's not that terrible. And the other elements, in terms of both internet and food and so on, not so bad. So you're not going to spend a lot of money on transportation. Public transportation is fantastic. So what you don't spend in other things like car insurance and so on, you'll make up with your rent. So it's not as terrible as you may think. Now let's head down to Melbourne. There is a huge competition between which city is better, Sydney and Melbourne. Both of them are wonderful. I chose Sydney. Imagine starting your day in Melbourne in one of the famous laneway cafes surrounded by street art that could be at MoMA. This city's got a completely different vibe. It's a bit more sophisticated, I think, more European, more artsy, and sometimes more experimental. Rent's a bit better there, about $2,800 to $3,500 Australian dollars in good areas, but understand that's always subject to change and shift. The queer scene is spread across neighborhoods like Fitzroy and St. Kilda, where you'll find everything from indie theater companies to regular LGBTQ plus art exhibitions. Chapel off Chapel, one of my favorite theaters in Melbourne. The Victorian Pride Centre in St. Kilda, it's become a major tech co-working space for queer entrepreneurs, and the Melbourne Queer Film Festival, the longest running in the Southern Hemisphere. Other cities of note, Brisbane and Gold Coast. Gold Coast is a city, by the way. It's like Miami in terms of its high-rises and so on. They're great cities weather-wise for sure, and the new Silicon Coast incentive is drawing remote workers with tax incentives and cheaper living costs than Sydney and Melbourne. Brisbane's Pride has been running for over 30 years now. There's something special when you're working remotely from the artificial beach on South Bank in Brisbane. It's pretty incredible. Okay, let's talk about reality and practicalities. The visa situation, well, it's evolving. There is no digital nomad visa in Australia. Hopefully we'll see one soon. There's a digital skills visa that launched in late 2024 for overseas workers, but it's not cheap to qualify and there are conditions. There is something to consider as well in Australia, and that is the time difference. It is a day ahead of North America, and you may find yourself on calls at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hello, been there, done that. You can structure your life to manage that, but understand that that is a consideration. It's far from North America, which is another plus in so many ways, so you can watch what's going on from afar. I love Australia because it is a way. Australia doesn't just offer you something precious, it lets you be who you are. You can feel completely safe and know that you feel home. Okay, Pride Nomads, let's head to South Africa. Before you raise an eyebrow, here is something wild. They were the first country in the world to ban discrimination based on sexual orientation. They did it in 1996, right in their constitution. And here's the game changer. Back in November 2024, they launched their remote work visa program. The income requirement is just under $38,000, way more accessible than most European options. But let's keep it real about what life is truly like here. Now, Cape Town is where most Pride Nomads are going to land, and for good reason. I mean, think about this. You're working from a cafe in De Waterkant, which is the city's LGBTQ plus hub, with Table Mountain as your Zoom background. Table Mountain is worth climbing. It's fantastic. And the views from the top are just stunning. And by the way, you don't have to climb down. You can take the cable car. Rents run from anywhere from between 12 and 18,000 Rand per month. That's about $650 to $1,000 per month for a nice place to be. The queer scene here is the most vibrant in Africa, bar none, with everything from gay-owned galleries to regular drag shows. But here's the thing about Cape Town and really all of South Africa. You've got to be street smart. This is not Amsterdam or Toronto. Yes, the laws protect us LGBTQ plus folks, but social attitudes can vary wildly depending upon where you are, which is true everywhere on the planet, isn't it? The major cities are generally great, but the rural areas, like anywhere on the planet, they're a different story. So be street smart. Let's talk about Johannesburg, Josie or Joburg as the locals call it. It is grittier than Cape Town for sure, but there's something electric about Joburg. The creative scene in areas like Maboneng is exploding, and the LGBTQ plus community here is tight-knit and welcoming. Plus, your money goes much further than in Cape Town, so you're looking at maybe $550 to $850 a month for an USD for a good apartment. And again, subject to change. The remote work visa I mentioned, if you stay under 183 days, you will not owe South Africa any taxes. Yay for that. And they've just opened up dedicated visa processing centers in major cities to speed things up for you. The bottom line, South Africa is not for everybody. You got to be aware, adaptable, and ready for some challenges. It's not the same for every place though. But if you want to experience something different, somewhere that mixes European infrastructure with African soul, where the LGBT community is legally protected, this may just be your perfect move. So are you ready for our final destination today? This may shock, surprise you, and certainly inspire you, because Pride Nomads, we are going to Iceland. This is the country that made world history by electing the first openly lesbian head of state back in 2009, and they've been leading the way in LGBTQ plus rights ever since. Same-sex marriage, legal since 2010. Gender identity laws, some of the world's most progressive. And in 2022, they banned conversion therapy completely. Reykjavik holds a pride celebration that draws tens of thousands of people in a country of only 364,000 people to begin with. It's like the entire country descends on Reykjavik for their pride festival. There's even a permanent rainbow street leading up to that iconic cathedral with the wild architecture. I did not mention the name of it because I can't pronounce it. Now, about digital nomad life. Despite its size, Reykjavik offers everything remote workers ever could possibly need. And let's be real about costs, though. Iceland's not cheap. It's incredibly expensive. A one-bedroom apartment may run you $2,500 or more per month, and everything from coffee to dining out will cost you more than you're used to. The good news is that there's a long-term digital nomad visa they launched in January 2025. You need a $5,500 USD income to qualify, but it's doable for many tech workers. Now imagine starting your workday in a cozy Reykjavik cafe while snow falls outside, then taking your lunch break in a geothermal pool, because that's just normal over there. The weekends, they might involve catching the northern lights or joining an LGBTQ plus hiking group to explore landscapes that look like you're on another planet. You will find, by the way, that the weather will shift and change just as you drive 30 minutes down the road. It was bizarre when I experienced that a few years back. The queer scene in Reykjavik, by the way, may be smaller than what you're used to, but it's mighty. The community is tight-knit, as you'd expect from a smaller country, and it is very welcoming to you. You will feel comfortable in Iceland. And since the whole country is so progressive, you'll find LGBTQ folks completely integrated into everything from creative spaces to outdoor adventure groups. Sure, winters are dark and summers barely see night, and yes, you'll need to budget carefully, but there's something magical about a place where being LGBTQ plus is so accepted that it is just a non-issue. Where nature puts on daily light shows for you, and where you can drink tap water that tastes better than anything you've ever bought in bottles. The bottom line, if you can handle the climate and the cost, Iceland offers you something rare. It's a place where being yourself is just normal. And there you have it, Pride Nomads, 7 incredible countries where you can live your truth while living your best digital nomad life. And if you want to extend, some countries are much more willing to accept you for the long term as well. Whether you're looking for European culture, Southern Hemisphere adventures, or a Nordic peace of mind, there's a place for you out there where you can live anywhere, work anywhere, and play everywhere. Now remember, grab your complimentary issue of the Pride Nomad letter right down below in the description for your weekly dose of tools, tips, strategies, inspiration, and so on for how to live your best life as a location-independent human. Whether you're simply looking to travel, looking to build a remote business, or work remotely for someone else, the Pride Nomad letter covers all of it every single week. It's free, it's yours. go ahead, click and grab it for yourself right now. I'm Ken Krell, reminding you that home is not where you're from, it's where you live right now in your own authentic self. Also, subscribe to the channel right now. Please let me know what you thought. Leave a comment below and tell your friends, because as a community, as Jane Fonda said, community means power. And just as you've watched the sun rise during this video, the sun is rising for us. While there are challenges abounding, certainly in the United States every day, the fact is that there are still options for us, and we do have choice. So feel comfortable that we'll be with you every step of the way with our Pride Nomad community, bringing you every option that's possible for you to live your best life. Together, we do have power as a community. Thanks for watching.